Hello everybody, Chris Hurt here from ppsop.com, and I want to show you something today that is a lot of fun. It's setting up a photo booth so that you can just have people be able to take a trigger and press a button and get some great photos of themselves, and you can set it up at an event, or if you're a wedding shooter, you can use this as an extra way to make some more income by setting it up at the reception, and just let people have a really good time. So we're going to go through that here just step by step. Okay, so on my street tonight we have a dear friend and neighbor named Simone, who is leaving for 4 months to and possibly longer to go to Australia, and she's going to be a long way from us, and she's become a really big part of all of our families. And so we had we're having an event, a little fire pit party. They've got a fire pit over there we're setting up, and I've set up a photo booth back in the quiet corner of the yard to try and keep it part of the party, but as out of the way as possible. So what you need here are a few things. So the first thing we're going to need is a tripod for the camera to be on. That'll always stay in one place, and then later you can put these all together into like a video, and it's fun to have it step from one to the other and have the camera always in the exact same spot. I've got a fairly heavy-duty light stand here with a big umbrella. I'm shooting into it. This is going to give me the kind of light that I'm looking for this shot. This particular group of people is going to be kind of edgy and fun, so I'm kind of using that on purpose. I've got a big umbrella because I want to be able to light up, 5 or 6 people here. It's also really important, especially in an event like this. There's probably going to be some people enjoying a few libations, so I want to have something holding the tripod or the light stand down. In this case, it's chicken feed because this is Portland, and that's kind of how we do things in Portland, Oregon. So I've got the camera, I've got the light stand, and I chose this background. I thought about putting a background up for this, and but I was going to put up some seamless paper, but because this is a backyard barbecue and fire pit party, I kind of wanted to preserve the natural look of that, and then thinking about it, because I've done a lot of these booths before, these leaves are blowing around in the wind, which I think is going to be kind of cool for what I'm going to do in the end, which is put them all together as a slideshow that you watch with music in the background. So as far as a setup, here's something that's really key with all of this. Manual exposure on the camera, manual focus on the camera, manual on the light. We don't want any auto modes, and the reason is you're going to be walking around, you're not going to be sitting next to this thing all night, or at least I'm not. And if you're doing this for a wedding or something like that, you set it up, you walk away, and people just press buttons. You're going to have people doing all sorts of things, and you just want the consistency that manual gives you. You're going to be consistent from one shot to the next, to the next, to the next, and it's just going to stay that way. So what I've done is I've got the camera at a 200th of a second at f8. I know it's going to be dark at tonight. The sun's going to go down, so that's why I have to have the light here. I got my light meter. I'm just checking. I got f8. I'm at a half power on my flash, which I know my flash, and I know it shooting into an umbrella. I'm going to be probably at about f8, and yes, f8. F8 there. So I've got f8 at a 200th of a second. Now I'm firing these with Pocket Wizards. And these are the Pocket Wizard Plus 2s, and there's a little trick. Lots of people have these. They're fairly common out there. If you have the Flex Pocket Wizards, they won't fire a camera, even with the proper cables. Adorama also makes their own wireless triggers that are far cheaper than these, that can fire your camera as well. So there will be a link to those. But the trick with these is, you've got to have one for the lights, you got to have one to fire the camera, and you've got to have this specific cable, which goes from the Pocket Wizard to the camera, and that makes the camera fire. So when I fire, it makes the camera fire, and it makes the light fire, and it's really cool. And I just put a little arrow on there so everyone knows which button to press. These cables that go from the Pocket Wizard or the wireless trigger into the camera can be really expensive. I used to have one, and I've since lost it. I found out I can rent them at a place here in town for $5, so that's what I did in this case, because the cables can be pretty expensive. So if they're the one for my camera is $100. So if that doesn't work for your budget, see if you can rent one locally. The other trick with these is Pocket Wizards is, for some reason, and I don't know why this is, but I have this on channel 1, that's on channel 1, and if I put the light on channel 1 too, they fire at different times. There's a delay on when the camera fires, so I can see the light fire before I hear the shutter. And so you can see in the shots I'm putting up that I don't have any light on me. So that's on channel 1, and for some reason when you put the Pocket Wizard on channel 2 for the light, and then press the button, they sync up just fine. So that's the trick there. Channel 1 here, channel 1 here, and then any lights you have, I mean if you have 3 or 4 lights, however you want to work this, they all need to be on channel 2 to get the light flash. And then what you need to be able to tell people, now you're set up, you're manually set up, I'm manually focused right here, and you tell people where to stand. Autofocus is going to have trouble because people are not always going to be standing right in front of the camera or fall underneath an autofocus point. The kids are going to be running around and hitting this, and they're down low to the ground in some cases. So that's why manual focus is important. This is a wide-angle lens. I've got pretty reasonable amount of depth of field with f8. So unless people get up really close to the camera, which often happens, they're not out of focus. Everyone's going to be nice and sharp. So I did here to tell people where to stand. I just put this garden hose down and I'm just telling people, hey, just stand on the garden hose and press the button, and you'll be all set. So this is tons of fun. You just keep an eye on it throughout the night and keep going over and checking it and make sure that the exposure settings haven't been changed, because a lot of people look on the back of the camera. Your camera battery will last a lot longer if you turn off the preview, the auto preview. So people still go over and check it out themselves. And then your flash, obviously you're going to have to change the batteries probably more than once in a night. I've had booths where people have taken up to 500 or even 1,000 shots in an evening, depending on what kind of event it is. So anyway, this can be a lot of fun. You can use it for picnics, family gatherings, and just get a ton of really cool pictures that look great. So have fun.